All right, so most of you got it right. Daughter cells produced during mitosis are identical. They are the exact same. They're clones of each other every single time. All right, next question. If you start with one cell, how many cells will there be after one round of mitosis? There's a couple choices there, and it's not a trick question. You have one cell. It goes through all the phases. How many do you end up with after one round of cell division, one round of mitosis? You start with one, it goes through all of its phases, and you have about 10 more seconds to vote. You have two. Like I said, it's not a trick question. You start with one, it goes through all of its phases, you end with two. That's it. All right, we're going to do 3 and 5. We're going to skip 4 for now. We'll come back to it. But these were questions on your attendance quiz last week, and a lot of people got them mixed up. So the first question, what are the male and female sex cells? Are they sperm and eggs, or are they XX and XY? You always have to know what the question is asking. Which ones are the sex cells? Everybody usually votes in about 45 seconds, so I will leave it to that. Sex cells, are they sperm and eggs, or are they XX and XY? Which ones are the cells? All right, they are the sperm and eggs. So if you're one of the 5 people that said XXXY, that is wrong. Make sure you know what the question is asking for. If I ask you for the sex cells, that is sperm and eggs. All right, so then the sex chromosomes would be what? Everybody should get this one now because we just went over the other one. Very good. The sex chromosomes are XX and XY. Good, yes. All right, back to the chat box for number 4. I'm gonna go back to number 4. What are the 2 other names for sex cells? What are our fancy science names for the sperm and eggs? What do we call them? I'll give you a hint. They both start with G. Gametes is one, good. What's the other one? Do we remember? Germ cells, yep, good, Abby. Gametes and germ cells. Gametes, germ cells, sex cells. They're 3 different terms. They mean the same thing. They're talking about the sperm and eggs. All right, and for number 6, these chromosomes, the 2 at the bottom, have the same blank blank and are therefore known as what? What do we think? They're one of your vocabulary words. They're your only 2-term vocabulary or 2-word vocabulary term. What do you guys think? What are those? You can tell me what they are first if you want to fill in the bottom blanks. Do we know? What do we call those? We matched them up in our karyotype activity. Nobody? All right, make sure you know it. We're going to move on. All right, an essential question. How are traits passed through generations? Today we are talking about meiosis. During meiosis, gametes undergo 2 cell divisions. And gametes are our only cells that go through this process. All of our other cells, our body cells, our somatic cells, those all go through mitosis. Our gametes go through meiosis. So you can see in the GIF, it starts as 1. It does its thing, goes through all its phases, divides into 2, but there's one more cell division. There's one more round where it goes through the phases again and ends with 4. And then it starts over. All right, meiosis is an early step in sexual reproduction. During meiosis, pairs of chromosomes separate randomly. And meiosis produces gametes, sex cells, germ cells, all of our terms for the same thing. We're going to use gametes from here on out. Gametes are haploid, which contain half the number of chromosomes. That is information we went through last week. All of our body cells, our somatic cells, have 46 chromosomes. Meiosis cuts that number in half for our gametes that only have 23. And the reason is because our gametes, a sperm and egg, is what comes together to make babies, to make the next generation. And if our gametes had 46, the next generation would have 92, and the following generation would have double that, and it would just keep doubling. Well, we don't want that number to double. We want that number to always stay at 46, because if there's more or there's less, then there's trouble. So our bodies have figured out a way to cut the number in half for our sperm and egg so that the next generation of offspring have the correct amount of chromosomes. Phases of meiosis, they're named the same. There's just 2 rounds of them. So there's prophase 1 and 2, metaphase 1 and 2, anaphase 1 and 2, telophase 1 and 2. And it goes through all of 1 first, prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1, and then starts back at the beginning, prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2, which we'll go through. Prophase 1 is the same general idea as mitosis, except the homologous chromosomes pair up. And those are those same chromosomes from the bell work. Homologous chromosomes should fill in 2 of those blanks. And then you got to go back and figure out what homologous means. We went through that in the last section. So prophase 1, same as mitosis, except homologous chromosomes pair up. Crossing over is a very important process that happens during prophase 1. It is the exchange of chromosome segments between homologous chromosomes. So if you look at the picture, you have your chromosomes lined up together, and then in the middle, something happens. Their little legs just cross over and switch information. It's a very, very random process that happens. So now in the end, you have the purple chromosome with a little green leg and the green chromosome with a little purple leg. And it's important because it results in new combinations of chromosomes, which leads to increased genetic diversity. The end result turns out very, very unique, as opposed to identical in mitosis. Metaphase 1, the homologous pairs line up in the middle of the cell, as opposed to metaphase and mitosis, where they're lined up one by one by one. Anaphase 1, the homologous pairs are separated, again, as opposed to mitosis, when the sister chromatids get ripped apart. So the initial daughter cells, after phase 1, still have the full amount of chromosomes. They're not cut in half yet. In telophase 1, nuclear membrane reforms, the cell undergoes cytokinesis. And like I said, these cells after round 1 still have the full amount of chromosomes. And then it goes through another round. And it's the second round that cuts the chromosome number in half. So meiosis 2, prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2 follows the exact same steps as mitosis. And the overall process produces 4 cells that are haploid, that have half the information of the original parent cell. There's a handy little chart highlighting the differences between mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis divides once, meiosis divides twice, has 2 rounds. Mitosis produces genetically identical cells like we talked about in the bell work. Meiosis, because of that crossing over process, their cells are very, very unique. Mitosis results in 2 diploid cells with the full 46 chromosomes. Meiosis end result is in 4 haploid cells with half the chromosomes. And mitosis is involved in asexual reproduction. And meiosis is involved in sexual reproduction when sperm and eggs have to come together to make babies. All right, so here's a GIF. It's actually from the Amoeba Sisters that you guys are going to watch for your Ed puzzle this week, but there's a mistake in it. I don't know, if watching it a couple times, if you guys can pick it out. I said it a couple of times. Mitosis, Attack of the Clones, they're the exact same. Meiosis, Dare to be Different. Ends in 4. And it's in the chromosome counting where the mistake is. I can't pause it. Meiosis after the first round in the middle, those two, yeah, when they divide once, it says they have 23. After the first round, they still have 46. Good, Evie. That's coming up here in a minute. After that first round, it says 23. It should still say 46. The end is what should say 23. Good.